my ear, and I was sticking like this on the one earring. I know, but I got to put that in. My I can't find a hole.
No man ever.
Surprisingly, some have said that.
Oh,
They do. Let me tell you.
For the wrong one, maybe.
Yeah, you want to know? You're like,
Oh God. Yeah.
oh, I've been such a, I've been a horrible cousin. I have to beg apologies to my cousin lad. She moved home and I haven't gone to see her.
Oh, that's not good.
I know. But, okay, so why you have to make me feel worse than I already do?
Rub it
I
in,
mean,
but yeah, that.
it ain't really like that. It's just like I had to be busy, and then I mean, and then you know I'm the worst person to call people. I mean, and and then I like don't go to place. I mean, it ain't really no excuse, but I mean, she knows I love her. But somebody told me somebody told me, oh, love is an action word. You have to show, man. So now I have to no, I have to go say sorry and beg forgiveness and think I love a bad lad. But in my defense, I've been busy, right? But I need to get them to understand that I was busy. And then so I did a group text, right? And
Oh Lord. I like the what do you call it, mass text.
yeah, I did a mass text, right? But she hasn't answered in the mass text.
Oh, okay.
So
You know that this is a vibe. I like the
yeah, and then they you know, I mean, I just don't know what to say. Like, I mean, but I love y'all, you know? Yeah. I mean, I'm a horrible communicator. I am. I mean, let's think about it. I am a horrible communicator. People don't come me to cuss me about how I to communicate. Let's think about it. Let's think about it. Don't I get that's my excuse. I'm a horrible communicator.
What is your job? What do you do?
But
Outside of that.
but I'm a horrible communicator because clearly, and somebody else told me that too. They were like, "Oh, if I didn't know you and I didn't love you, I would be so mad with you." I am a horrible communicator. I you know, man,
But you're very well spoken and you're very
being me is so hard. So now I have to go on. So I think I'm just gonna buy a really nice perfume.
Yeah, that'll solve all the problems. Good perfume just cuts to the chase. One and done.
I mean, I need to make up, but I don't know how to. Like, how do you make up? And the thing is that after I make up and I know that they ain't mad with me no more, I gonna go ghost again. So
Come back
I mean,
to where it was.
yeah, I just need for them to understand that, I am so much like my father in that sense. It's ridiculous, right? Like my sister, but you know, see, my sisters get it because they understand. Uh-huh. And these are my cousins, so they know. I think they know, but I don't think that they're holding a grudge. But I ain't really 100% sure. Why this thing telling me I must log into Facebook? I don't know my Facebook password. Oh Jesus! Another reason I need my cousins in my life, right? Let me see. Oh Lord, they're gonna be mad at me. Let me see. Yeah, play my intro. Let we go live. Yeah, we could go live. We shall go live, and I'm going to ask these people what they think. You know the rules. I talk about what I want to talk about. I need help today.
You have coffee though, right?
I have coffee,
So there's that part.
and I didn't have coffee in Mississippi. I was
You
dying.
were in Mississippi?
Yes,
What's the weather like up there?
cold,
Oh, Lord.
cold.
Mm-mm.
You and I don't want to know how glad I was to come home.
Was there snow?
No, ain't had no so. Hi, good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, are you ready?
People been listening.
No, nobody even listening. We just went live, no?
Oh, yeah?
Good morning, Jamila. Oh, Lord. Okay. Hi, Miss Sharon Peterson. How are you? Really, Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, okay. But we were talking about because we don't get in trouble. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Just not okay. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you guys doing this lovely Saturday morning? If you guys are tuned in, you are tuned in at 9:70 a.m. WSTX Radio, my absolute favorite place for you to listen to me at, or you're at WSTXradio.com. He don't have a maid, let he do it himself. Or you're following me on my Facebook, Just Jamila Live, and you need to subscribe to my Just Jamila page so that you can, if you're not able to listen to me live, you can go back and listen. Good morning, Meg MP. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And I hope everybody is doing well this morning. I am so happy to be home. Let me tell you, as the plane landed, touched the ground, from the time I start to see St. Croix and fly over Frederickstead to taxi, I don't know how to explain it. I just get all giddy, all excited. I was all happy. I sleep on the plane. But from the time I felt the plane, starting to descend, and I opened my eye and I could see St. Croix, I wake up and I was happy, joy. I don't know about anybody else, but I love St. Croix. I don't know about nobody else, but I know I love St. Croix, and I don't mind going away. But let me tell you, coming back home, there's no greater feeling. I like coming home. I have some of y'all that don't really like St. Croix and just to tolerate us. Okay, that's all your business. I love St. Croix, and I'm so happy to be home. I'm wearing today, for those listening, my radio audience, I was away for work. I went to the National Black Caucus of State Legislators Conference, and I'm a member of the Black Legislative Staff Conference Committee, and they have their annual conference every year around this time. And that was the conference that I attended in Atlanta, where Usi Richards invited me to the then president of Nobel Women, which is the national organization of Black elected women leaders, right? And they had their conference here, well, not here on St. Croix because we didn't have the hotel space, but they had it in St. Thomas at Frenchman's Reef. And it was based just on an introduction and my telling people, come to the Virgin Islands. At every opportunity you have, and this is why I just get vexed with people when they go on TV and they don't say come to the Virgin Islands. At every opportunity you have, you need to tell people, come to the Virgin Islands. And I do so all the time. And as a matter of fact, this last conference, which was held in Biloxi, Mississippi, Biloxi is actually on like a little peninsula on the Gulf Coast. I don't know. Well, it's the Gulf of Mexico, but Trump says the Gulf of America, but the Gulf of Mexico. And the conference was held at an MGM hotel, which is called the Beau Rivage. It's spelled Beaurivage, the Beau Rivage, in Biloxi, Mississippi. And right down the road was Treasure Bay. And Treasure Bay didn't look Treasure Bay-ish, but it was, it didn't look like it didn't look fancy smangy like all of the other stuff that was around it. It looked like the stepsister, step cousin. But hey, they're still here in the Virgin Islands, so we're gonna like them. Yay! But it was a wonderful conference. I made some wonderful connections. And I think that the members from the region will have the regional meeting here in the Virgin Islands. We're trying to get that done. And then the executive committee, the next year, the 50th anniversary is going to be in Philadelphia. And they're looking for a place to host the next 2 years out. So I think that the Virgin Islands, we had discussions with the executive director, and I think, we're going to make a push. I know I'm going to write a letter to the Senate president as a member of the staff committee for the Virgin Islands to put in a formal request to be in consideration for the 52nd conference, which will be 3 years out, because next year going to be the 50th. And then, so they want to come. You'll be surprised. So many people, when they hear about the Virgin Islands, especially when it's cold this time of the year, and so many Black elected state representatives and state senators, they attend the conference and they would like to go someplace warm. We're ideal. And I think that we should use that opportunity. Former Senate President Usi Richards, when he was the president of, I want to say the 26th or the 27th legislature, he brought down the executive committee. He was a very active member, and former Senator Terrence Positive Nelson, he was also a very active member in NBCSL. And I guess he used to get him cruising around because some people remember him like a lady. Apparently, she was his dancing partner. If it's one thing the conference attendees will do is dance. So after the conference, sessions typically last until 3-4 o'clock, and then you get a break, and then in the evening. And if it's one thing Black Americans like to do is a group dance, a line dance, we here in the Virgin Islands know about where the fans at, and we learn that dance, but they have like 50 million kajillion line dance, and they were all doing it and joining in. And I like reggae, and then I like Virgin Islands Bram music. And I sure enough did ask them. I was like, can you play some calypso soca, Virgin Islands music? I had them play A-list in Washington. This DJ didn't have A-list, but he played some song, and that was, but then he did play some reggae for me, so I was okay. All right. So, but every opportunity we have, every conference we attend, we should always promote the Virgin Islands as a destination to have a conference. Unfortunately, St. Croix doesn't have the conference room capacity that's needed to have breakout sessions, plenary sessions, and stuff like that. So, so you have to tell them, well, we have St. Thomas, which is part of the Virgin Islands still. And I am a Virgin Islander. So if the conference can't be held on St. Croix, hey, you can take it over to St. Thomas. So we're going to be actively pursuing the conference here. And I'll keep you all up to date on whether or not we're in consideration, if we're in the run-ins and all of that stuff. All right. And while I was in Biloxi, I had the opportunity to attend my first professional NBA game. And that's why I'm wearing this New Orleans Pelicans t-shirt. I was so close to the floor for the basketball game that when the cheerleaders came and threw out the towels, I got one. Well, I didn't catch it. The guy next to me caught it, and then he gave it to me. So I want to thank Usi Richards for this experience. It was a wonderful experience. He is so recognized in the legislative circle, and then he's also so well recognized in the basketball world that he was able to get us tickets on the floor. Like literally, there was the stand that you see on TV where so it was the bench. We were behind the where the players to sit on, the bench for the players. And then after the players, there was like a line of reporters. And then there was one row, and then we were right behind them. So I was like in the 4th or 5th row, like back from the floor. Like I was so close, like I could hear the basketball players talking, and like you could scream out to them and you could say, hey, and they would turn around. Like we were that close to them. The two premier players, I mean, Uzi was so disappointed that I didn't get to see the guy from the Spurs, whatever his name is, and then the guy Zion from the Pelicans play. But I'm like, I mean, I'm not a big fan of Timmy Duncan isn't in the Spurs anymore. I still like the Spurs because that was Timmy Duncan's team. So I wanted them to win. And I think I was in the middle of the Pelicans cheering for the Timmy Duncan team, which was really weird. Like, go Spurs. Yeah, because that's Timmy Duncan's team, right? But it was really good. The Pelicans have this little shot dude from Puerto Rico, Alvarado, and he looked like people from St. Croix. So, you know, but he's a Puerto Rican, so he's probably related to people on St. Croix. I was cheering for him too. So it was a wonderful experience. So I want to thank that. And New Orleans was only like an hour and 10 minutes drive over from where we were staying in Biloxi. And it was beautiful. And so it was a wonderful experience. I had a wonderful time. And I had a really good conference, and I am glad to be home because it was cold. And this has reaffirmed my position that I don't belong in cold weather. Although the only good thing about the cold weather is that my hair behaves in the cold weather. You know, my hair does behave, and I can wear it out and it looks civilized, and it doesn't like coil up to I don't look like a chia pet. It works in the cold weather. My hair behaves. But that's that. And like y'all, although I was in the cold weather, oh Jesus, why is it not true? Anyways, so I need y'all's help. All right, I need y'all's help. I'm a horrible communicator. I am a horrible communicator, and so we're going to help Jamila here for a minute. I'm a horrible communicator, like horrible. I have friends. I like all my friends. I love my family. I love my friends, but I am a horrible communicator. People will tell you I don't like to pick up the phone and call people. Most of my calls when I'm on the phone is work related. It don't be like social phone calls. And so I am so horrible, and I need to make up to one of my cousins. And so I need y'all's help. Y'all need to tell me what to do. Y'all love me, I think, sometimes. I'm a horrible communicator. Good morning, Karen Peterson. Okay, Karen can attest to that. K-Shine. I am a horrible communicator. I don't necessarily pick up the phone very often to call the people I love, but I do love y'all. So my cousin moved home, and when I tell you that she's my ace kumbunku, I love her. Bad. That's like my bestie. That's my ride or die. If I call her, she gonna pick up all of that stuff. She moved home, and I haven't connected with her. It's not that I didn't want to connect with her. It's just that I have been busy. And then when I come here on Saturdays, and then I go home, and then I don't leave my house again. I run my errands, and then I go home, and then that's it. I don't really do anything. And so I need to make up to my cousin because I want her to know that I love her and that I'm a horrible communicator. But not because I'm a horrible communicator means that I don't think about her all the time. I don't think about her and be like, okay, when I done do this, I'm gonna call her and check on her, and then I gonna figure out something for us to do. And then by the time I pick up the phone to call, I'd guilt myself into saying it was, she probably mad because I didn't call her, and then I don't want to have to deal with her being mad, so then I don't call. So I need y'all to help me figure out how to resolve this. I figured I could just buy a bottle of perfume and go look for her, or maybe some flowers, and go look for her and say, hey, I am sorry. I'm not a good communicator. I want you to know that I love you and that, I think about you, but when I'm home, I don't go places. So y'all have to help me. Okay? Help me. All right, so y'all figure it out and tell me what I can do to fix this. All right. Yeah, please. Yes, it is. So, all right. I just needed to say that. So y'all gonna help me. Somebody post it in the comments about what I need to do to make up with my cousin, what I should buy, what I should do. If you guys are listening, help me get out of the whole this horrible communication, because I would wait until I think that she's forgotten that I haven't called her to then, just pop up and be like, hey, because at some point she's going to, you know, forgive me. Oh Lord, why Karen is posting. Yes, but Karen, you know that I love you. I love y'all. I truly love y'all. I'm just a horrible communicator. All right. So I'm sorry. So y'all will figure it out for me. All right. So once y'all figure it out for me, we'll go. All right. So Mississippi was a blast. Let me go back. Mississippi was a blast. I attended my first I attended my first basketball game and my first professional basketball game, and I loved it. And I think that wherever you go, you should just do VIP. And somebody texted me and said, "That's not the first. You went to the basketball game. We went to a basketball game in Denver. I didn't go. If y'all remember, I didn't go. Those of us who went to Denver for the marijuana trip to figure out about legalization of marijuana in the Virgin Islands, I didn't go to the game. That was like right in the waning hours of COVID, and I was so afraid of COVID. We were already traveling. Denver, my allergies was kicking my butt in Denver, and I was congested the entire time. I was sneezing from my allergies was really really bad, and they were in they had the box. They had a box to see the game, which was like a super VIP suite with like all of the stuff. But any place you go, you should do the VIP. I had VIP. We were in a VIP for this Pelicans game, and it was beautiful. I loved it. I was in awe. I was like a child, and you know, and I was just like, thank you, Usi, thank you. So that's it. And oh, Senator Lewis, good morning. Senator Lewis, I hope you're back in the territory. Senator Lewis did attend the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, and he was as a freshman senator. And this conference is especially important because it's all of the Black elected legislators from across the nation. And it's so interesting because so many of them are in minorities in the houses. I have a lot of people that listen to me stateside. So like your state representatives attend those meetings. Like I know the people from Georgia. My son lives in Georgia. I know who his state senator is because of the National Black Caucus. There are things that I have reached out to the person who represents his district when my son has called me and mentioned something to me, and I'm like, hey, my son is there, blah 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 blah, and they've been able to assist and guide me, to guide him, because he's not indigenous to Georgia. He really know where to go and stuff, and they've connected me and sent me to the right places and stuff like that. But you make excellent connections. It was good because a lot of the senators that attended were first-time attendees, first-time elected senators as well. And having a seasoned, prior statesperson in USI who serves on the executive committee of the NBCSL helped in that. A lot of these people were so absolutely endearing and welcoming to our elected officials from the Virgin Islands. Okay. So, and that's what, that's what it was. And in nothing like, let me tell you, and I like going to this conference because after the walk, they don't turn up, and then the next morning they just show up for a 9 o'clock call for a meeting, and they will be dragging in, but they're gonna come in, and by 10 o'clock they catch themselves after they've had a couple of cups of coffee. But all right. Okay. Thank you, Tony Brown. Tony Brown told me your cousin loves you also. Just be honest with her and she'll accept how you overthinking is something we do because we're smart. Yes, I think I'm overthinking. Okay. So I'm going to Tony Brown. If I call her today and I go look for her and she ragged me up, I gonna blame you. I just can't take the rag up. And I don't like disappointing people. I think that's my issue. So I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna this weekend. So when I come on next week, Saturday, I'll let y'all know how it went. All right. But just like you, I've been to this national conference and we were 2 hours behind. And let me tell you, Trial Watch had me in a, what do you call it? What are young people are saying? A chokehold, in a headlock? I don't know. In something. I don't know, but Isabel had me. And now I see like all kind of other people doing it, but WTJX, Isabel Tier, our public broadcasting station, have it on lock. I don't know how she was writing down them questions. She must need a new arm for writing. I need to find out if she know. Um, I I need to know if she knows shorthand and figure it out. What my cousin just said. One of my cousins just said, "Teculix." I'm going to have to, but I'm scared. But Trial Watch had me in a chokehold. I was like, I had it on my phone, and then I don't know about y'all, but for some reason, I don't know how people will watch videos and stuff on the phone, right? I had to log in and cast my phone asked me, do you want to cast to your TV? And I was like, yes. I needed to watch it on the big screen in the People Them Hotel because for some reason I can't hear good when it's on the phone. I don't know about anybody else, but Lord Papa, Lord Harry the judge, Trial Watch had me in a chokehold. And I will say that after the first or second day of testimony from David Whitaker, where they went through those audio recordings, I was like, they're done. I felt it in my bones, and apparently so did the jurors. And it is a sad day. It's a I don't even know how to say it because I'm saddened by all of these events, but I really want to talk about, before I talk about the actual events, I want to congratulate Isabel Tier from WTJX. They started this Trial Watch, and we've been, or I complain about the lack of true media, objective media here in the Virgin Islands. And because WTGS is a public broadcasting station, we're getting balanced news stories where we hear from both sides and we get information and not opinion. And so I want to thank and big up the WTJX family and Isabel Tier for just reporting the facts, reporting for us what transpired in the courtroom. Because a lot of times when we read the newspaper, the articles are so subjective, you can hear the bias in the news reporting. I tell people all the time, I have a talk show. It's called Just Jamila. I am completely biased. I tell you all that all the time. I am completely biased. I don't, if I'm going to, I try my best to provide you with information and I give you the facts as I know them to be. And then I just give you my opinion on the facts. And my opinion are mine. But because I'm not purporting that this show is an avenue for journalism. I'm not a journalist per se on this broadcast. I'm a talk show host. I give you facts and then I give you my opinion on the facts that I have presented. And WTJX did an exceptional job. Isabel Tier did an exceptional job in providing us with the information. And if you were following Trial Watch, I think many of you came to the same conclusion that the jurors came to based on what was being reported. So I want to thank them for that avenue. All right. So that being said, I want for the people to understand that public corruption, and I am not equivocating, I'm not trying to make light of it. I don't want for our public to think that the Virgin Islands is somehow worse than any place else. It appears so because we're so small and we happen to know so many of the people who have been accused and then found guilty of violating the laws and the trust placed in them by our community. I also want for the people to know that not everybody who has been elected, not everybody who has been placed in a position of authority abuses those positions of authority. Not everybody can be bought, not everybody can be sold. And there are people who stand on morals and on principle. And there are people who believe in morals over money, not money over morals. And while these convictions may, shake the trust that we have in some of the institutions, I personally believe that there are more good than bad seeds in the Virgin Islands Police Department and in government as a whole. It is unfortunate that the Virgin Islands Police Department, the person, the head officer, the head of that agency, an agency that's tasked to serve and protect and to make sure that the laws are upheld, that person was found to be in violation of the laws that he was supposed to uphold. But that is not and should not cast a long shadow on those police officers who get up every day to do the right thing every day. And I believe that there are more of those types of officers, those officers who want to do right by our people, who want to do right by our community, who want to do right by whatever moral code they live by and whatever God they believe in, and that they get up and they do that every day. And I don't want us to say, oh, we have been so programmed to believe that everybody is corrupt, that when the system works, because what this conviction says is that the system works. If somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to do, they're investigated, they're arrested, they're tried, and a jury of their peers adjudicate them, and the system works. And so if there are people that are doing wrong now and you have not been caught yet, I want you to know, my grandmother used to say, time longer than twine. And so if you're doing it, you need to stop, because eventually it's going to catch up to you. Goat luck and sheep luck ain't the same. And while there are many that may argue that there's some people who have gotten away with a lot more, I'm going to say goat luck and sheep luck isn't the same. And I will caution anybody who is in a position of authority that is doing something that you're not supposed to be doing, and you're saying, oh, but it's a little favor, and then they buy me this after. That is against the law. Uphold the laws, the rules, and the regulations, and let's go from there. All right. I don't want for us as a community to malign all of those individuals who work in these agencies. And we should not believe that everybody can be bought and everybody can be sold. And I want that to be a takeaway, because I think with these convictions, it will give those who want to paint the most horrible picture of the Virgin Islands ammunition to say, all of them corrupt, all of them this. And while there's certainly some that you can question their morals and you can question their intent based on their actions, I think that we should not paint everybody with a broad brush. All right. Um, so the coverage came in. They were adjudicated by a jury of their peers, and they returned guilty verdicts on all counts. And it is clear that um, whether or not people like whoever this David Whitaker man is, whoever he is, and however you think he got here, even if he had gotten here with the intent to look for corruption in the Virgin Islands government, if you didn't feed it to him, there wouldn't be nothing to have. Because just like a fire need oxygen, if it didn't have it, then they wouldn't want it. And so my grandmother always told me, you don't watch what another person to be wearing, and you don't watch another person's shoes and want it, because you don't know what they do to get them shoes. And so I good, I hope, we should all be good with what we have and work to get what we want. Yeah. So let me stay shopping at Marshall's and Burlington, and what the next one is, Ross Dress for Less and Walmart, and Target. A little too expensive for me. I can't even afford Target, but let me stay in them places. Let me shop in the Coach outlet. I definitely can't afford Coach retail. I will shop in Coach outlet, Michael Kors outlet. I have a little cousin that like Tory Burch, and I tell she I can't afford Tory Burch, right? But she's single, she doesn't have any children, and she has a very good job, so she can afford Tory Burch. I tell she the other day, I was like, okay, I can't even call her nickname on the radio because then everybody gonna know who it is. But I had to tell her the other day, you should get me a Tory Burch since you think I need one, So yeah, I stand in the outlet. And then when I go to the outlet, I don't go to the clearance section of the outlet. Like, I can't even afford the regular outlet stuff. Good morning.
Jamila.
Yes, my love.
Oh, I called you to the legislature yesterday, but I called you late because they say you had leave.
No, the course I leave. I ain't been in for the week. I've been in.
She didn't say so.
I've been in Mississippi. Oh, she said me that. Okay.
That's not what she said. But I had called you know for what?
What you call me for?
To tell you that my granddaughter Siobhan Harvey met birthday today.
Oh, for real?
The one for Billy?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one for Billy, William Harvey, Billy.
Yes.
Yeah, she met birthday today.
But how she come your granddaughter?
Sure, she named Siobhan Harvey, the one for Billy.
But how she come your granddaughter, Gloria?
Because he be with my daughter, Dan. Remember Dan Harvey? She had married to Billy, William Harvey.
Oh.
So she got a daughter. That's my granddaughter, Siobhan.
I did not.
You had known me already.
I mean, I know you, but for some reason I didn't know that. Well, happy birthday.
Yeah. And Bunchy is her family, her aunt.
I did not know that. Well, happy birthday, Mama.
Yeah, Bunchy, the one was just from a church. Remember Bunchy was from a church of her name, Benisha.
Yes.
Benisha is her aunt.
Yes,
Remember
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when you're going to let you know the family, what happened to Lola and Anita, David, and Louis.
I know Allah, yeah, but I only know, I know about your second husband. I didn't know about Harvey. You're telling her yourself now, Gloria.
Yeah, I got to let people know. I'm committing no crime. Let people know what taking place. And raise my good friend, Martina, that's my good friend.
Yeah. It's just a very. Yeah. Yeah, it's just very sad. It's sad.
Yeah. I cry this on,
Yeah, it's sad.
because he's a good friend of mine, and I cry, man, to say, you know.
Yeah.
But we all make mistakes, Jamila. We all make mistakes.
Yeah.
So he make a mistake. So
And I just hope,
he will
you know,
know.
and my hope is that, you know, I tell people this all the time. You know, my grandmother had 16 children, and some of them weren't so good, and you know, and some of them were. My grandmother was a woman of God, and my grandmother always said that if you make a mistake, you need to own up to your mistake, own it, apologize, and you know, ask for forgiveness and make right, do right. And I think that so many people have made mistakes in the political realm, and they don't ask for forgiveness. They don't say, hey, I should not have done that. Maybe, you know, I was wrong. I maybe I should have used better judgment, and ask people to forgive. That's why when people want to throw things in my face, I'd be like, I have made amends. I say what I've done. I've asked for forgiveness and I've moved on. If you want to live in that, you can continue to live in that. But to move forward, you have to admit that you've made bad choices, learn from them, and then try to do right.
We are
Yeah.
make bad choices and
Yeah.
mistakes. I had 3 husbands.
Listen, you had 3 husbands. I can't even find one.
But Jamila, that's the thing. You don't work in the legislature, and they got lots of nice looking men there. How come you don't get on?
In the legislature?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't work with them. Yes, they're very nice looking men in the legislature. Sure. Yes. Okay.
And some of them senators are nice looking.
Gloria, I take your word for it.
Some of them look nice, and I tell some you don't get boyfriend.
Let me tell you, I don't. How do you say? I don't eat where others use the bathroom.
Okay, love.
Okay.
Just say Siobhan, happy birthday for me,
Okay, happy birthday to Siobhan Harvey.
Harvey, the one for William Harvey.
The one for William Harvey.
Yeah, for Billy.
For Billy.
Yeah.
I said it exactly like Gloria want me to say it, okay?
Yeah, well, see the hearing.
Okay. Okay. Happy birthday to Siobhan Harvey. The one for William Harvey, for Billy, from Gloria. Her grandmother. From her grandmother, Gloria Encarnacion.
Okay, 3 husbands.
From 3 husbands. Okay, all right, bye. Lord, I want to be as vivacious as Gloria when I get to Gloria age. I really do. I want to be like Gloria. I really want to be like Gloria. Why people texting me what Gloria said? No, I will not be finding no man in the legislature. First of all, everybody in the legislature married. Let me just say that. And if they married, they need to be married. Or I don't just see. I don't eat wedders. No. I do that one time. I'll tell y'all. Yeah, but no, I would never do that again. All right. So, I want to say, I have a listener from Maryland. I want to say I got Shashamani Christmas ornament for this year. It's beautiful. As y'all know, I never really did Christmas. I didn't do Christmas, and then Shashamani came home a year, and he wants Christmas. I don't know how he don't know Christmas coming. He does want Christmas. He does want a tree. He does want to see it light up. And when the Christmas tree is up and lit, he sits down and he watches the Christmas tree for hours on end. Like, he'll just let the Christmas tree just be lit, and he just gonna watch it. It don't even need to be plugging in the night. He'll plug it in the day and watch it all day long. And from the first year I've put up a Christmas tree, her Facebook name is Tam Dorsey. Her and her family has sent Shashamani a personalized ornament for every single year. And every single year we put it on a tree. And I am happy to report that this year, I only tell Chappie I'm not bringing up all of the other ornaments. The ornament that he has for this year, she was looking for a brown baby boy, but her card said so. The ornament for this year, I'm taking because next week Saturday I'm going to be doing my show. I won't be in the studio. I will be doing my show remotely for the season, because this year, for the first time since 2016 was the last time I spent Christmas Eve and Christmas morning with my two boys. This year, for the first time since 2016, I am going to wake up on a Christmas morning with Chappie and Shashamani in Chappie's new crib. So in Chappie's crib, in his hopefully it would be his forever home, because his actual house will be ready. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So I want to say thank you to Tam Dorsey and her family, and we're taking that ornament to light up the tree. So this gonna be my last. I think this is the last Saturday in the show. I think I leave on the 21st. Whenever the 21st is, I think.
Oh, that's
next week
Sunday.
Saturday.
No, next Sunday.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Saturday.
Okay, so I'll be here Saturday, but then I'm going up to the ATL, and I'll be gone for the entire of the Christmas season. So I will not be here for any of the parades. I'm missing. Oh, let me do the top of the hour. Sorry, Jen is in the back. Top of the hour.
Stand up for decency. Stand up for compassion. Stand up for respect. Stand up for your community. Stand up for your future. Stand up for the Virgin Islands. WSTX FM 100, the soul of the Caribbean.
Okay, and okay, that's fine. Very good.
There we go.
We're good. All right. So I will be in the studio on Saturday, but I will be taking it. So I want to say publicly, thank you to Tam Dorsey. Shashamani doesn't know when things come for him. He opened the card, and people will be surprised that Shashamani can read. Like he can read words. Like he can read. Like he have to learn. Like, and so when he opened the card, and I told him he has to write the thank you card, and I made him do it twice, because the first time he writes so big. If there's no lines, he writes like extra big. And I was like, no, you have to do it. You have to write it small. And so then when I tell him to write it small, he was going like twinchy. I was like, dude, make up your mind. and then I realized maybe I might be confusing him with my instructions. And maybe it would be better if I just drew some lines in the card and have him write it. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So this is going to be the third attempt. So I don't waste 2 thank you cards. This is going to be the third. And I'm going to draw some lines with a pencil. And then when he's done, I'm going to erase the pencil so that it could look neat. So it's an adventure. So I want to say thank you to Tam Dorsey. WTJX has commented. Thank you. Roshan Sukram. He's an excellent photographer. And so to all of you guys, she was not doing shorthand. That means she was writing fast. Lord have mercy. She gonna need a what do you call it? A wrist guard, a wrist transplant, because she was in that notebook. And then I liked when she would say like, give me a second. Let me make sure I wrote this note correctly. And she would read her notes and then present us the information. But we have to protect our public broadcasting system. As you all know, public broadcasting stations across the nation has been under threat by the Trump administration. NPR and the public broadcasting. NPR is National Public Radio and public broadcasting systems across the nation. So many of them had to let go because the Trump administration just doesn't like fact-based reporting. And so we have to support our own public broadcasting station here in the territory that offers, not in competition with for-profit stations, but that belongs to us, the people of the Virgin Islands, and we have to protect it. All right. So there we go. So Trial Watch is done until there's a next we don't have court TV. Somebody said, ask us if we have court TV. We don't have court TV here in the Virgin Islands. And we don't have court TV. Okay, there's no court TV in the Virgin Islands, but we'll figure it out. But that's what happened, and they will be sentenced next year. Ray Martinez has to turn himself in February. He has to self-surrender in February, and there was no self-surrender for Jennifer, and they're slated to be sentenced in June of next year. So they have a minute to get themselves together. I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me. I can't remember what they're facing. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up here. I saved the hold on, let me see if I can find it someplace. Let me go on my app. I don't remember. I know they're facing substantial jail time. I just don't know what they're facing. I can't remember it. I can't remember it now. But yeah, there was a no. Oh, somebody asking me. No, Ilma. Ray has to turn himself in February. He has to turn himself in. So they released it. So typically, right, after you're found guilty, for certain offenses, if it's in cases where it was a violent offense, typically you're remanded immediately upon a guilty verdict. This is a white collar crime, and so sometimes they let you remain free until sentencing so that you can get your stuff in order. And it appears that they're letting them get their stuff in order. They're letting Ray get his stuff in order until February, and he has to self-surrender. I want to believe I hear this. If I didn't hear February 17th, then it's the 27th. Don't swear me to it. Go back. Isabel had it. I heard it on Isabel said it. And then you could go back and watch a trial. Watch it on YouTube. And then they didn't say that Jennifer had to self-surrender. The sentencing has been scheduled for June of 2026. So they'll both be sentenced in June. Ray gonna be in custody from February until June when they're sentenced. All right. So that's what that was. All right. And again, you know, I just want for the Virgin Islands to know that not everybody is corrupt. And okay. All right. So WTJX has indicated that they're publishing an article. We'll share that next week, Saturday. It's not up yet. As soon as they publish it, we'll share it and we can have a discussion on that. But again, that is why I don't, when my friend Elsa, how you to pronounce this word? Covetousness. How you to say that word, man? Let me ask Google. Let me ask Google to pronounce the word for me. You have to put it in a way so I can sound it out on the radio. You have me sounding like a real Puerto Rican. Well, let me not say that. I guess I could say it, right? Because I am Spanish, so I could say that. Let me see what Google say. Hold on. Let me go to slow. Let me see how Google say it's supposed to go.
Covetousness.
Wait, what?
Covetousness.
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 Covetousness. Okay.
Covetousness.
Okay. Google say is covetousness, right? So that's why I don't covet what anybody else. You know, that's not true. That's not true. There's an instance where sometimes I just covet. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't covet. No, I guess the word would be covet. So I don't covet. I'll tell you what I was talking about after we talk about this. But covetousness, according to Google, my grandmother always used to say, you don't covet what people have because you don't know what they did to have it and you don't know their circumstances. And based on this story that Channel 12 wrote, you know, Jennifer had issues with housing. She had some housing issues. She was housing unstable. She didn't have stable housing. And, if I mean, her children are all grown, but having a home and having a place to lay your head at night causes some people grief. And if your housing unstable, it lends to you making decision. And I'm not trying to make any excuse for her, but it's clear that she had some as much money as you were making being paid in your position, there was still some difficulties in paying for things. And I know that St. Thomas housing looks very different than St. Croix housing, but sometimes, especially if your position is territorial, switch location and try to get a cheaper place that you can afford. It's hard out here in the wall, but apparently, she was living in somebody's house and then moved to evict her, and she was saying that she and the man had an agreement, and and I'll tell you, the story says Jennifer O'Neill's housing was subject of recordings in fraud trial. WTJX looks at her eviction. Tom Ada wrote the story, and it says, as a federal corruption trial of former police commissioner Ray Martinez and former Office of Management and Budget Director Jennifer O'Neill continues in district court on St. Thomas, the jury heard multiple recorded phone calls between the prosecution's key witness, David Whitaker, and Martinez, where the topic of O'Neill's ongoing housing issues were brought up repeatedly. In a phone call recorded on November 21st, 2023, Martinez and Whitaker discussed how stressed O'Neill appeared because she had not yet found a new place to live. On this call, Whitaker said he may start sending O'Neill money to help her. And on January 16, 2024, Martinez and Whitaker again discussed O'Neill's housing issues and the impact it was apparently having on her. In that recorded call, Whitaker told Martinez he thought they should sit down with O'Neill to understand exactly what she needed, adding that she seemed distracted. Martinez responded that O'Neill had a lot to contend with, citing getting evicted, work, and her love life as points of stress. The conversation seemingly stems from a 2-year-old court case where O'Neill's landlord moved to evict her. O'Neill has been living in a mahogany-run condo unit since 2019 as a month-to-month tenant, paying $1,900 a month without a written lease. The condominium belonged to Domino Oil Co. Inc., which was then headed by Cesar Cortez. After Cortez suffered a brain aneurysm, his wife, Flores Santos Cortez, assumed control of Domino Oil in June 2023. On October 17, 2023, the company served O'Neill with a notice to quit, directing her to vacate the unit. She refused, asserting that she held a colorable claim to title through an alleged oral agreement with Cortez, meaning she believed she had enough of a legitimate ownership stake to block an eviction. Domino Oil, represented by attorneys Andrew Capdeville and Dana Relic, filed an eviction complaint on December 4, 2023. Santos Cortez testified during a hearing on January 11, 2024, that she was not aware of any agreement, written or oral, by her husband to sell the condo unit to O'Neill. O'Neill, represented by attorney Johanna Manning, argued that the eviction should be dismissed because she had a colorable claim to title. She testified that Cortez orally agreed to sell her the unit for $275,000 with a $75,000 down payment and the balance due within 6 months. She said she invested in minor improvements to the unit over the years, purchasing appliances, repairing a closet door, and adding a storm shutter to the front door. She said she wanted an agreement in writing and informed her attorney to draft a contract and to continue negotiations with Domino Oil on her behalf. She continued testifying about the ongoing negotiations, stating that she was still in the process of trying to reach an agreement with the company. Capdeville said O'Neill testified that the property was for sale at $375,000. However, he said he believed the price was $425,000. The property was subsequently sold for $400,000. On January 11, 2024, Magistrate Judge Simone Van Holten Turnbull ruled that Domino Oil had proven its eviction case by a preponderance of the evidence, Considering the evidence and testimony presented, the court did not believe that O'Neill made improvement because of the oral agreement. Instead, the court found the minor improvements were consistent with those of someone who has rented the same unit for multiple years and made improvements which benefited O'Neill's personal use of the premises, not Domino Oil. The court ordered O'Neill to vacate by January 31st, 2024, and ordered her to post a $25,000 appeal bond if she wanted to challenge the ruling. O'Neill filed her notice of appeal on January 30th, 2024, and Manning office later submitted the required bond. She argued the magistrate division erred when it denied her motion to dismiss for lack of subject matter jurisdiction, when it denied her motion to continue to engage in discovery, when it excluded the testimony of a witness, Wilbert Smith, in violation of the Virgin Islands rule of evidence, and when it accepted the testimony of Santos Cortez without evidence of her authority to represent Domino Oil. Domino Oil argued that there was no agreement for the sale and therefore no colorable claim to title, that Santos Cortez was authorized to speak on behalf of the company as she assumed the role of president in June 2023 when Cortez became medically incapacitated, that the court properly disallowed Smith's testimony, and that the court did not abuse its discretion to credit and accept the testimony of the witnesses before it. On June 25, 2024, Superior Court Judge Sigrid Tejo affirmed the eviction ruling. O'Neill appealed again on April 29, 2024, bringing the case to the Virgin Islands Supreme Court. However, the appeal ended on July 9, 2024, when O'Neill moved to dismiss the case. O'Neill's motion to dismiss came after she resigned as OMB director in June 2024. Governor Albert Bryan Jr. announced on June 17, 2024, that he had asked her to resign amid the federal investigation that was ongoing at the time. In O'Neill's motion to dismiss, Manning told the court he learned that O'Neill vacated the property on June 30, 2024, and surrendered the key to Captiville on July 5, 2024. He noted that even if she were to win the appeal, Virgin Islands precedent prevents courts from restoring possession to a party who voluntarily gives it up. On July 11, 2024, Chief Justice Reese Hodge dismissed the appeal. With the appeals resolved, Domino Oil sought compensation for its legal expenses. On September 11, 2024, the company filed a motion requesting $28,178 in attorney's fees, asserting it had prevailed at every judicial level. On October 10, 2024, O'Neill opposed the request, arguing the award was discretionary and claiming Domino Oil was not the true prevailing party. She asserted she only vacated the unit because the governor required her resignation from government service, leaving her unable to pay rent or secure financing to complete the alleged purchase. Domino Oil replied to O'Neill's opposition, and on July 31, 2024, the Superior Court found an award of attorney's fees and costs was appropriate because Domino Oil was the prevailing party, and the company's case was not a frivolous personal injury action. The court awarded a total of $21,015, which was $7,163 less than requested, and included $15,470 to Relic and $4,631 to Captiville, along with $914 in costs to Captiville's firm. Domino Oil filed its final request on December 3rd, 2024, seeking to have the $25,000 appeal bond released to distribute the funds in accordance with the court judgment. On March 10th, Tejo ordered the cashier's office to disperse the funds, covering attorney's fees and costs, and returning the remaining $3,985 to O'Neill's attorney. The prosecution alleges Martinez and O'Neill, charged with bribery, wire fraud, and money laundering conspiracy, accepted bribes from Whitaker, the former owner of Monito's Pro Support. Martinez is accused of accepting at least $110,358 in bribes from Whitaker, some of which were allegedly paid by inflated invoices to cover work Monito's completed for the Virgin Islands Police Department. Whitaker allegedly bribed Martinez to ensure his outstanding invoices to VIPD were approved and paid. O'Neill, who allegedly used her position as OMB director to expedite payment of an inflated invoice, is accused of accepting at least $17,730 in bribes. The trial continues on Monday. Okay, so that was the story. And as you can see, you know, they were based on what was happening. Covetousness was coveting things. Okay. All right. So hold on one second. Clearly, you know, people, you know, when you want something and when you covet things and you want to own a condo, if you can't afford a condo and in your condo, go, you know, live in a regular apartment. We have to, yeah, we have to live within our means. Ray wanted to open a restaurant, and you know, he wanted to have the chicken shack in St. Thomas, and you know, allegedly, well, I guess saying allegedly anymore because they were convicted, but I'll say allegedly, you know, they took bribes for these reasons to finish these things. It's just very, very disheartening. But you know, clearly she was facing other issues that make them susceptible, because when you want to have and walk around, you know, and that's why I tell people all the time, and I said this just the other day, there's so many people within government that you see with things, and I'm like, I don't know what they're doing to get, and I don't want to know. Let me stay shopping in Marianne's in the plus size department, and Rainbow in the plus size department. Big up to Lenisha Cornelius down in Marianne's, and Shami Biza and Linda over in Rainbow. Plus that does hook me up and have me looking well. And then when I want to look expensive, my mother cousin own a little boutique right there in the mini mall. I can't remember the name of it, but when you walk into the mini mall, and on the right hand side is a little boutique that belonged to a Barnes, and I will go in there and get a nice little dress for like $100, you know, and that was hot my head, you know. So, and then if I need something schmancy, I go down to my partner at Samara's Fashion, and they hook me up. So I gonna stay within my means. I have Marianne's and Rainbow money, and so, you know, what is covetousness? Covetousness. Let me go back to Google. Let Google pronounce the word for me. And you know, and we need to stop looking at it. And I see so many people here in the Virgin Islands walking around. I ain't questioning it, but if you know you're not doing something that's appropriate and right and legal to get the things, stop it. Okay? Covetousness. Okay? Stop the covetousness. All right. I just needed to say that. And the reason Ray has to report is because the one charge, which is the obstruction of justice charge, the court typically finds that is a very, very serious charge carrying a lot of years, and it makes them a flight risk. Like, hey, that's so much years I might run away to Cuba so that I don't have to serve the time in the jail. That's why they're going to have him report to jail. And I want to thank my friend for sending me that information. Somebody said they have Temu and Shein. I don't know how to shop on Temu and Shein though. I don't know. And I'd be seeing like really good things on Temu and Shein, but I don't know how to do the sizing. You know, I don't know how to do the sizing on Temu and Shein. Like I order one thing from Temu, a dress, and I order it, and when the dress come, it was like, I look like a parachute. So I don't know the sizing for Temu and Shein. Or else how I pronounce it the first time is how her mother pronounce it. I pronounce it like a rock Rougean, like how I think it sounds. But according to Google is covetousness. Okay. But I want to say again to the men and women, I think that the people at the police department feel a kind of way. And somebody just shared something with me, and I did not ask his permission to talk about it or to read it, but I figured that since he posted on Facebook and somebody sent it to me, I am going to go read it because it on Facebook, and he can't really be mad with me because he put it on Facebook. So I'm going to I am going to read it. All right, so it is from former police commissioner Novell E. Francis Jr. And I think this is his page, right? It don't say Junior, it just said Novell Francis. This your page, Novell Francis Jr.? Well, I know him as Novell E. Francis Jr. Why I don't know if his Facebook, hopefully it's his real Facebook page, because people, oh no, it's signed Novell E. Francis Jr. Okay, yeah, okay. So if he's a former police commissioner, he's a senator in the 36th legislature. It says, to the men and women of the Virgin Islands Police Department. And I'm going to read this because I think he said it better than I did, or that I'm saying it. To the men and women of the Virgin Islands Police Department, I want to speak to you directly in light of the recent conviction of a former police commissioner. Moments like this are difficult, and I understand the frustration and disappointment many of you may feel. But I want to be absolutely clear. This situation does not define you, your service, or the integrity of the vast majority of the men and women who wear the badge of honor every single day. One individual's choices should never overshadow the professionalism, sacrifice, and commitment that each of you demonstrate in protecting our community. Do not let this discourage you or shake your resolve. Instead, let it strengthen your dedication to the values that make this department strong: honesty, fairness, courage, and service. The people of the Virgin Islands rely on you, respect you, and need you. Keep your heads high, stay focused on your mission, and continue to carry out your duties with pride. The uniform you wear is bigger than any one person, and your work continues to make a real difference in the lives of our residents. Thank you for standing the line, for doing the hard work, and for upholding the trust placed in you. We move forward together, stronger, clearer in purpose, and committed to the highest standards of justice and integrity. Stay safe, stay proud, and stay committed. And that was written by Novell E. Francis Jr. He's a former police commissioner and senator in the 36th legislature of the Virgin Islands. All right. So I wanted to just share that with y'all from a former police commissioner. And it's hard. It's very hard for community, because people know them. People know them, people like them, people know Ray, people like Ray, people know Jennifer, people like Jennifer, people know Calvert, people like Calvert, people know Darren, people like Darren. And so when these kinds of things happen, it shakes a community. But I hope that those of you who are in a position of authority, and let's not be hypocrites. There are people doing things that they know they shouldn't be doing. I urge you to stop today. And there are people here in the Virgin Islands currently violating our laws, and we are supporting them publicly. We are. The prosperity, wherever you call out there, down there, old plantation, they're not duly licensed. They don't have a nightclub license. They don't have a venue license. All they have is a farm license. They've been cited by the Department of Licensing and Consumer Affairs. And it begs the question, how can I hear commercials coming up the road about events being held there? And it begs the question, is this person here too in our Virgin Islands doing the same thing on St. Croix that Mr. Whitaker was doing in St. Thomas with government officials? Because he is clearly not in the confines of the law. we've read the reporting that, you know, they're not properly zoned. They're zoned for farmland use, and they are having events, and a whole bunch of y'all that want to call people criminal around here, you are an accessory to a crime. Y'all attending? Are you going there like it's nothing? And so I say, you know, be very careful. You know, let's not be hypocritical here. And you know, I want to know, how is it that this person place isn't completely shut down? Like, how is it that you continue to have events? And are we going to have another shoe drop where there's investigations into people here that's allowing this kind of activities to continue to happen, when it's been made clear that they don't have the license, the permits, or the authority to operate in the manner that they're operating in, but they continue to do so in plain sight, they in hiding, and they are disrespecting our territory, disrespecting our laws. And we have so-called freedom fighters, so-called activists, so-called you know, people who are cultural bearers, influencers, everybody bigging up and participating and promoting these people who have no respect for our territory or our laws. I'm just saying, I'm going to point it out. You know, I glad I stay how I stay, but we need to be very, very careful. And if you know you're doing something, try behave. Like truly, if you're doing something, try stop now. You know, and hope that you're not in that $7,000 minutes or hours, however much thing you have. Senator Johnson says, Senator Johnson is like me. I was listening to Isabel's coverage on WTJX, and Senator Johnson said Johnson said, and I'm not going to read this whole story, but it was posted yesterday. Senator Johnson reacts to the verdict. Senator Johnson, he had asked for a copy of the Manitos contract during the legislature. And Senator Johnson has said, he says, Johnson said additional federal investigations and indictments are already pending. There are about 7 indictments out there right now that are waiting to go forward, he said, adding that the charges include falsifying information and misuse of public funds. He did not name individuals or provide details, clarifying his knowledge is based on what he has been told and what he inferred from trial testimony. Well, I infer from trial testimony that a lot more people might be coming down. And while during the testimony you kept hearing, oh, Anthony Thomas isn't corrupt, right? I was like, okay, every time you say that, it begs a question about, I don't know about you, but the hair at the back of my neck start to come up. And I think that we're going to find that whole Department of Property and Procurement is going to be under investigation, and how some of these contracts are awarded, and with all of these federal monies that's floating around, and all of these same people winning the same bid, and all of the same contractors getting all of the work around here, and no real true competition, you're going to find, and I would hazard to guess that Department of Property and Procurement is under some serious federal investigation. And I say that, I take a look, I work in the legislature, leases come down to the legislature. I see the same set of people getting government leases. And I think that the federal government is going to take a look at these things, because when you issue, and this is just Jamila Russell speaking based on Jamila Russell's observation, right? And I think that you're going to find that the Department of Property and Procurement going to be under investigation. And follow my train of thought here. We're in recovery. You're issuing an RFP to rebuild schools, right? However, when property and procurement issue those RFPs, they don't include in the contract enough government space and don't provide the winning contractor government land to lay down the materials, right? They just, they don't offer that in these contracts. But all of the contractors gonna need warehouse space, they're gonna need lay down space, kind of like how Alexander Henderson School look, where you lay down all the materials you need, right? The contractors are going to need those types of space. But then here comes another set of, after these contracts were issued, all of a sudden, miraculously, here comes a bunch of leases being produced out of the Department of Property and Procurement for companies that just formed, people that said, oh, we recognize these opportunities, and they're getting government property, right, at low monthly costs to then lease out to these contractors to lay down the equipment. And I am not an investigator, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And so if I think it don't make sense, and you know that the federal government is here watching how our monies are being spent, and all of these projects are 428 projects, which means that, I think it's called 428, which means that the federal government gives you the money for the contract, and then if you have savings on it, you can use the savings for those to build to do other projects if you have savings. So if the federal government gives you $150,000, right, to fix something as a 428, and you build it for 100, you get to keep the 50. But as the Department of Property and Procurement, they're not trying to save money, because if they're trying to truly save money, then they would factor in this lay down yard for the contractors as part of the contract that they award for the rebuild. But no, they are now leasing government land to people friend for them to then go back and lease out these spaces to these contractors, driving up the cost of the contracts. I think there's something fishy going on. I will say it. I think there's something fishy going on, because all of a sudden now we have businesses being created to lease out back to I'm going to lease government land, and then I'm going to sublease it. Has the Department of Property and Procurement not learned from the Island Laundries fiasco? Why are we doing that? Why are we leasing property to individuals to become landlords? Property and Procurement, you are the landlord. The same way somebody that leased your property gonna find a tenant, there are thousands and hundreds, well, not thousands, hundreds of people who are looking for government property to lease to establish their business. Small businesses that you are now going to drive up their rental costs, especially in the St. Thomas district. That's why only certain people can operate small businesses in St. Thomas, because you're leasing to certain individuals, and then they're releasing these properties to people, and the prices they're charging these people are ridiculous, when they can come directly to Property and Procurement and lease it at a reasonable rate so that they can have their business entities. But they want their friends to continue to become multi-millionaire on the backs of the people of the Virgin Islands. That's what they're doing. Good morning, Kim. It's good to have you home. Good morning, son. I love you. Mom can't wait to see you. That's what they're doing. And they can't tell me in a scam, some kind of scam, some kind of scheme, some kind of a foolishness going on in Property and Procurement. Because why are we? Leases coming down. People create LLCs around here, right? to come to lease government land to create warehouse space for the Bentons and the what other construction, I don't know any other construction company besides Zepho. For Zepho, Benton, Vivo to rent back from them the spaces. That should be included in the contract that, hey, we have space in subbase and we're going to reduce your contract by this amount, you know, or we're going to save money. But if Benton and Zepho and the Vivos have to go out and rent space, that's going to be in the cost of construction. Y'all can't fool people who have a brain. And then you're allowing these people who've created these LLCs to come to rent and build warehouse space to become millionaires. And their lease, they're only paying $1,000 a month to the government, when other people paying $4,800 and $3,600 for a small business. When you wanted to charge St. Thomas Rescue a ridiculous amount of money a month, $1,000 a month, you have a nonprofit, you wanted to charge them $1,000 a month to St. Thomas Rescue, some ridiculous amount of money. But a for-profit entity, you charging them the same $1,000 a month, and you gonna tell me they're a hookup for a friend? Come on, make it make sense. We need to stop fleecing the people at the Virgin Islands. And who vexed dead, and who dead bury. Yeah, they're wrong. And maybe, you know, okay. Yeah, these people are wrong in what they're doing. Completely. Instead of trying to save the government money, some of the people in property and procurement costing us money. And they need to stop. Because I, like Senator Johnson, agree that you get plenty more to come in. Okay? Many more coming. And that they need to be investigated, because there should be no opportunity, no reason property and procurement have to be entering in any long-term lease agreement with any one individual. And then I want to know how certain people could get multiple government lease, and they have businesses out there that trying to get in contact with property and procurement to get a piece of government land to operate a business, and they can't even get a meeting or return phone call. But certain individuals have multiple leases with the government. Yeah, because it's friends with them. They just play golf with them. So if you say golfing buddy, you have access to government land. You could come and get a government lease. If there's an issue with your lease, you could get it fixed in 2 days. When somebody else have an issue with their lease, it has to go through months long, years long. It had I will never forget a boy come down. Well, he not a boy, a man. Come down. And they gave that man such a hard time to get his lease in St. Thomas for he auto shop, he mechanic shop. And then they have people that just come here, and because they don't play golf with them and there's friends with them, they getting 2 and 3 lease, taking up a whole bunch of property in subbase, and then go lease back out to people at the Virgin Islands. We need to stop it. They need to stop. All of them. And who vexed dead? All of you. I know what you're doing. I mean, calling out your name, but play with me. I will call out your name next week, Saturday. Keep it up. See if I don't call out your name out publicly and what you're doing. I need to stop it. The FBI need to be investigated. Well, I know they're investigating you, because letters was written and lease was provided, and ain't just now. Okay, so take that. What old people are saying, take that for gapping. So I need to stop. Yeah. The man here and St. Croix that want to buy property to build a hotel that's renovating Christianstead had to wait months and months and months to get a phone call back from property and procurement. But you're not gonna call the name mean here. Allegedly. Let me make sure I say allegedly. Right? Allegedly, Mr. Rodriguez in St. Thomas have more than one have access. His lease could get fixed. But Mr. Zelke had to wait months and months to be able to buy. And he's going to buy it and provide a hotel in St. Croix. And y'all, what y'all doing in St. Thomas is giving this man the opportunity to then charge the contractors 2 and 3 and 4 times the money that he's paying y'all to lay down, instead of y'all protecting the Virgin Islands and ensuring that when these contractors come to build, that they have a space to put their stuff down. Come on, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know? And then you don't have to go find people to connect you with them, because all of them want to have the packet grease. And if you want to have a phone call, you have to connect with this person. I think people ain't know why you're doing wrong. Yeah, I need to stop. I need to stop. I'm going to warn you again today, publicly. Saturday, what the date is? December 13th. You need to stop. Stop giving away the government's property to your friends at below market value, and stop fleecing the people of the Virgin Islands and allow the contractors to have access to those properties in subbase to lay down the materials that they need to rebuild the Virgin Islands, so that they do not have to go and rent from your friend. I done with Ayo. You have been warned. All right. On lighter note, now that it's now 9:45 and I have said what I needed to say, and yeah, we need to make sure that they stop. I tell Ayo, and one of them, I'll never forget, the WhatsApp me some message, right? And I answering them back on the message, and then the next thing I know, I see the messages going like, they texting me, right, on WhatsApp, and I answering them, and the next thing I see is a message deleted. And I was like, but why are you deleting the messages that you texted me? Because like, I would wait, and typically what I do, if I would delete all the messages off my phone, but I see that message delete. I said, but how you do that, right? I didn't know how to do it. I had to Google to figure out, and I come to find out that you could delete the messages on certain phones. And that's what they were doing me. I guess they're afraid I screenshot it and share it, but I don't have no problem saying what you say and what I say, because anything I text you, I could tell the person to the face. Okay, somebody wants to talk to me. Good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Good. I just tune in and I hear you, and I can't say that I agree with you more, because a lot of things have been going on for a long time, but the people have waking up, and thanks to talk shows, that the people are looking out for what rightly belongs to them. The people, not just a few.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard you a while ago saying something about you don't speak Spanish, or you're Spanish, or you shouldn't be ashamed. Already you shouldn't be ashamed. I myself is of Hispanic origin, even though I don't hablo español, oíste. Anyway, what I'm trying to explain to children, they got to keep asking me, how is it that we maybe ain't making no money, or we make a little pittance doing something, selling a dime bag or something, and they want to prosecute us? But people who make 100,000 plus, even of the billionaires, always want more. And most of the time, it's not more of what they want. It's more the people's money.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I cannot feel no kind of way say sorry for them and those in government who allow themselves. Because nobody put a gun to their head and tell them come. Whitaker, Mojito, the whole bunch of them, they forced them to come in. It was within them to begin with, and they see a chance, and as you use the word rightly, please the government. So now they're going to pay to the tail part for it. That's all I got to say. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Okay. So let me tell you. So that's what's happening here in the Virgin Islands. So I'm done with that. I want to thank the state of Mississippi. Let me get a guy named Lad. He did say he had a picture from him. Hold on. Representative Jeffrey Hullum, that's his name, Jeffrey Hullum, and Raymond Hull. Raymond Hull is from Rhode Island. Hullum is from Mississippi. I want to thank the whole Mississippi crew. We had a wonderful time in Mississippi. President Love, I wish him the best of luck on his tenure. He's from Tennessee. President-elect Ramesh, she'll be the next president of the NBCSL. We had a remarkable time in Mississippi, in Biloxi, and it's always good to be around Black elected legislative representatives and to be around Black staff. And it's always so amazing. They're like, so they were like, so how many are you in the caucus, right? We don't, how many are you in your caucus? I was like, we don't have a caucus. They were like, oh, you don't have a caucus? I was like, no, Ada, we Black. And so they'll just be so amazed. And so they were like, I told them, but we've had some Caucasians elected. And I tell them, we had a few at one time, and they were like, how? I was like, my son, I don't know, right? But I tell them, they're so happy that we have 15. They were like, all 15 members. I was like, yes, all 15 members. And so just talking with the staff and sharing ideas and a lot of times, so in the Virgin Islands, because we're unicameral, how things are set up is a lot different. A lot of their staff is like personal staff or staff that works for the actual Black caucus in their state, and or for the Democratic caucus in their state. And so when we tell them, how the legislature works, we have, the central staff, and central staff is made up of, Caucasians, not Caucasians, of all Black people. They're like, Caucasians run their side and their central staff. And so the one thing that I will speak to the executive director about for the legislature and to the current Senate president moving forward is that we actually have to get more of our staff members, not just senatorial staff, but actual central staff, because, attorneys are present, lobbyists are present. One of the big topic of discussions in one of the big and some of the model legislation that they're talking about stateside, and we're going to talk about this. It was just too heavy for today. We'll begin talking about this sometime in January after the Christmas break. But a lot of them are talking about the 340B Medicare plan, where you can purchase medicine directly from manufacturers. During the session, because I was very interested in the session, and I was in discussion with a lobbyist from Eli Lilly and the woman from Pfizer. They were there, and talking about purchasing directly. And one of their big concerns in the States is that they have a lot of for-profit hospitals that utilize the program, and the program is really supposed to where you buy this the medicine directly from the manufacturers or the big pharma, and then at a reduced cost, and then that those savings, you're supposed to take those savings and put it back into your community, give it back to the poor people. Don't do that, and put it back into the community, right? And a lot of the for-profit hospitals in the States, they're using it for profit, and they're not giving back to their less unfortunate in their states. When I looked it up here locally, I think only the Eastern Medical Center during the conference, and I have to re-verify the information. Only the Eastern Medical Center have an agreement currently to become a participant in the 340B program to purchase medicine directly from the big pharma at a substantially reduced cost. And we need to start to take a look at that here in the territory, and it's something that we can benefit from. And I got a copy of the model legislation, because what the model legislation says is where those savings for the medicine saving, medicinal savings, where those savings have to go. So there was some model legislation that was introduced. I have a copy of it, and we're going to take a look at it, because I think it's something that could be very beneficial for our hospital system, the Wang F. Louis Hospital and the Roy Lester Snyder Hospital, along with our federally recognized healthcare institutions. And the program was extended to the territory in 2019. So it's been available for a minute. I didn't know about it until this conference, and so I want to make sure that we take a look at how we can, if it's not being implemented here in the Virgin Islands, how we can get it implemented, and if it's being implemented, what those cost savings are, and make sure that those cost savings. What in the world are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Do not play with me. Okay. Sorry, I had to use my voice on him. He was doing something completely ridiculous. But we're going to take a look at the legislation. All right. So always some good takeaways. That was the one piece of legislation that I was particularly interested in coming out of the conference. And, you know, I want to thank my boss for letting me go, Clifford Joseph. Thank you so much. It was a meaningful and a very, very good conference. And I can't wait until next year, if God spare life, to attend in Philadelphia for the 50th anniversary of the National Black Caucus of State Legislators, and be a participant again. All right. It is the season to be jolly, and I want to wish everybody a very safe and happy holiday season. If you drink, please don't drink and drive. Have a designated driver. Please go out and participate and enjoy all of the festivities and the events that's occurring, and just have a really good time. All right. I want to say congratulations. Well, not congratulations, but when I came back, I see that the Department of Tourism has re-implemented or reinstituted or revitalized, I don't know what right word would be, but the greeters program down at the airport. I just thought about this after I yelled at him well, I didn't really yell at him. I just told him to stop doing what he was doing because it was unacceptable. But Shashamani need a job, so I think I'm going to go apply for him to be a greeter down at the airport. I think that's something he is capable of doing. He loves the Virgin Islands, and he will tell them welcome to St. Croix. So I need to get application for him. So let me figure out how to get a job application and fill it out for him. We do have to have jobs for individuals with disabilities, non-compete jobs for individuals with disabilities. We will talk about that, because that was another takeaway from the conference, but that came from the employee staff side, and that we're going to be talking about as well. All right. I don't have anything else for you guys today. It's always a pleasure with me to be here with you. I want to thank my listeners for sharing their thoughts and ideas with me on how to make up with my cousin. I can just go and just say sorry. I want to thank Tam Dorsey for it don't be my ornament. It'll be Shashamani ornament, but the beautiful ornament Shashamani now has he's getting a full collection of and he knows his ornaments. It's just, you know, he loves the airplane ornament. And when he saw the airplane ornament, and I told him, no, we're not going with the airplane ornament. He was like, we're going on the airplane, Atlanta. I was like, yes, we're going to Atlanta. So I look forward. I can't wait to wake up Christmas morning with Chappie and Shashamani. And Chappie wants us to do an ugly sweater for Christmas Day. I don't have an ugly sweater. We don't sell ugly sweaters in the Virgin Islands. And so remember, people, stop coveting things that you don't have. Somebody said, don't hang your hat where your hand can't reach. And just, you know, live within your means. All of us like things. I like things. I like bags. I like bags. I like bags. I like shoes. I like clothes. I like to look cute. Although you cannot tell sometimes on Saturday mornings when I come up here, but I do like to look cute. It's just that Saturday mornings, it's a lot to get ready on a Saturday morning. But check me, you know, in the afternoon to get ready. When I have enough time, I could clean up nice. You know, everybody likes to look cute. But leave the people emptying alone. All right. On that note, I don't know how to be anybody but just Jamila. And so to my cousin Maritza, I love you bad. I love you bad. I do. I love her bad. I do. All right. Until next week Saturday. I don't know how to be anybody but just Jamila. Y'all wish me luck. Did us punch your heart in your shoulder. I probably gonna get a couple punches, but if y'all see Maritza before I do, just tell I love her bad, and to forgive me, okay? Because I'm a horrible communicator. All right. Happy holidays, guys. Bye-bye.
Stand up for decency.